Thanks, Mike. Those of you that know me know that I can speak with a mouthful of marvels underwater. But this evening I've actually got notes because there's a few important things that I want to say. The first is a warm welcome, of course. To get the calibre of people here tonight, and I'm not just talking about the dignitaries, but the calibre of people in the nursery industry is a fantastic thing, and I thank you all very much for coming. Peter Vaughan, the CEO of the National Association, Mike, the President, David Foss, the CEO of the State Association, Doug Shelton, the President, Lee Siebler, who's made the trip up from Melbourne. Lee is head of Garden Centres of Australia, which is a group of 75 or 80 or more, Lee, I'm not sure. No one knows. Could be more by the end of this evening. Very important, and Lee coordinates the Beyond Blue promotion, Garden Relief, which those of you who aren't involved with should be involved with. This year, I think, was it 70,000 that was raised this year, and 70,000 that was raised last year, due to the impetus of Lee and his team, and due to the retail nurseries. And just speaking for ourselves about that, we raised $3,000 in the course of a week. We raffled, thank you, Dave. We weren't number one though. I think someone in South Australia, or Western Australia, raised 5, 6, some massive amount of money. We had suppliers who donated things that we raffled off. We put on silly blue hats. You might have seen that in the Hort Journal. We had blue cupcakes, which were an absolute catastrophe because it was about 80 degrees, and sausages. But most of all, we had a wonderful time, and it was a great staff bonding exercise. It was a great initiative for our customers who supported us. And forgetting about the money we raised, our turnover on that weekend was 20% higher than we would normally expect, because we were doing something good for ourselves, for our industry, and for Beyond Blue. There's a lesson there, and I'll get back to that. So also thanks to Graham, Sandra and Kent Ross for turning up tonight, and Judy Horton and Rob. You're all great advocates of the independent retail garden centres, and we sincerely appreciate that. We appreciate you, Graham, giving up your time when you've got radio probably at 4 a.m. tomorrow morning. As I said last year, when Graham finally opened this store, he's one of the few people who can manage to be in two places at once, because he's on Better Homes and Garden right at the moment, I think, interviewing the Ab Fab girls, and he's standing here, so that's quite an achievement. So also welcome to the suppliers. Evan has thanked all the sponsors, but the other suppliers who are here are very important to us as well, and without them we simply don't have businesses and we don't have an industry. So to those who supported the event, thank you very much by sponsoring and helping to defray the costs, and to the others for turning up and seeing what we can do if we have a bit of positivity in our industry. That's great too. And I think, hello Julie. I think Evan's also mentioned that we've had people who've come from near and far. So Julie Wallen from Coffs Harbour, who won the best small garden centre in New South Wales last year, has flown down. Yes, has flown down, and we've got Peter and Alison from Easy Colour in Victoria who've driven it up, and you should have a look at their product. We're going gangbusters with that here. Grant Allen has come up from Taskmaster, one of our very important suppliers from Canberra, and Rodney and Mrs. Rodney, Cheryl, isn't it? Cheryl, Rodney and Mrs. Rodney from Rodney's in Canberra. So thanks for that. So it coincidentally really happens to be our first birthday party in a sense, because we opened just over a year ago. But this is an evening to celebrate the independence of independent garden centres, and also the rise and rise of IGC. Which is the Independent Garden Centre Group, for those of you who can't string the initials together. So in IGC, we're a certifiably mad mob of retailers who band together for marketing, promotional, financial and social reasons. And whether we're members of IGC or whether we're just independent garden centres, we all need to just celebrate what we do. At IGC, there are 3 new members. Evan again has mentioned those. Rob at Four Seasons at Belrose, Cameron at Landbug at Mount Cola, and Hosanna and crew from Bushlands in Erina, who just joined last week. Congratulations. We have about another half a dozen members actually, who will be announced over the next few months, including 2 brand new nurseries that Peter Whitehead, who helped design out, in fact he didn't help, he designed our nursery, let's be truthful. He can't be here tonight because he had back surgery a week ago. And he's spitting chips, so he can't be here tonight, but he's always been a great advocate for this industry, and of course he ran Rass Brothers, which was another multi-award winning garden centre for many years. One of the good things about green gold, and the phoenix that rose, if you like, from the ashes of green gold IGC, is that the blokes who've retired like Peter, and Jeff and Lucia Fowler, who I think will come back from Europe, especially with this function tonight, they retired in a sense last year, although no one in horticulture really retires. So, there's still plenty of room for more in IGC, folks. I'm not going to give you a hard sell, but it's a big table and there's plenty of chairs left. And what I want to say is that independent garden centres are complementary. They're compatriots and they're competitors. Not competitors, sorry, they're not competitors. We're not competing with each other. We just need to compete within our own business to try and improve them a lot. And the best example that I can think of is Rodney. From Beltana Road, Pilialigo, if I've got the pronunciation right. There's 5 or 6, or there used to be 7, I think there's 6 at the moment, nurseries in that street, just near Canberra Airport. And they basically all do well because they're attracting people to the area. And I think that's an important thing too. So we need to not be so concerned about our competitors, and frankly not be so concerned about the big boxes either, who apparently are looking for category domination. In every area of life, really. It's not just paints and whatever else. They'd probably take over the government soon if they could. I've heard them referred to as the evil Lord Voldemort of our industry. And I like what Ronald Reagan said when he was talking about politics, and it may well be applicable to them. And that is that, dear Ronald said that politics is like a baby's alimentary canal. It's voracious at one end with no responsibility at the other. And so the responsibility lies to us independent garden centres, because some of our suppliers, particularly if they've gone too hard into some of the box stores, are really suffering a little bit. And we need our suppliers to do well, just like we need ourselves to do well. We're getting there. Yeah, so sometimes the recent history has shown that suppliers who get too aligned in that green direction can lose their soul, and in some cases their pants. So I don't worry about what you can't change, and I suggest the same thing to you, that you don't worry about what you can change, you just need to work what you can't change, you need to work on what you can change. Retailers are often their own worst enemy, and we need to concern ourselves with upskilling. We're trying to get some apprentices into the industry, and we've got a lovely young fellow here, Jack Hutchinson, who's here somewhere with his parents, who's an outstanding example of a kid studying horticulture. There he is, who's doing well. And I met another one in Adelaide at the nursery, the Australian Nursery Conference in February on the bus tour, and Jane from Brunnings was there. Her name's Miss Lizzie, and she's, how old, Jane? 17, 18? Just turned 18. She's just won the first year award for the best apprentice in Victoria. And she's an absolute dynamo. So we need to get some more of those people in. And I've said to various industry people, and I don't want to be too political tonight, but I've said we could employ 4 apprentices tomorrow if we could find them. So I'll leave you with that thought. We need to upskill, train, and keep our staff in the business, as well as keeping ourselves sane at the same time. Most independent retail nurseries, the owners are working ridiculous hours to try and achieve their aims. We need to basically improve our business to be bulletproof bastions of service and quality, where the customer is actually welcome when they come into the door. Doesn't have to scan their own sales, bring a box and take their purchases in, and listen to the staff in some places talk about their social life or bitch about their boss. We need to bind together with common goals to support key suppliers who then reward us with better pricing and service, rather than worry about mass merchandisers who are only achieving 2 things: dumbing down our industry and screwing our suppliers. So IGC and green gold have been vitally important to Honeysuckle for 35 years or 30 years, and when I started I was a 22-year-old very naive young man, and now I'm a 61-year-old quite naive older man apparently, but I've made friendships, and I wouldn't have the friends within the industry that I've managed to keep or learnt some of the things that I do know about how to stay in business without this group of completely different, disparate, diverse, but like-minded people, all of whom stamp their own mark on their own business. So as far as Honeysuckle is concerned, we're truly a family business. Our operations manager and driving force, Tom Thorburn, who's standing here, he's a formidable ball of horticultural energy if ever there was one, and he's extremely organised, which he apparently gets from his mother Lisa, who's standing here. And Tom's worked like a dog to make this evening a success, including his monthly drive to Melbourne for Victorian Market Day, where he was on Tuesday morning. He's brought that truck back with a whole truckload of trouble that needed to be priced and put away. Tom's siblings, brother and sister Jack, who's a store manager in our company and also does a sensational job, and his sister Tessa, I don't know whether she's here or not, but probably at university. She does our IT and our signage. Lisa does, my wife Lisa, co-owner of Honeysuckle, she does our purchasing for giftware, and she does visual display, and I haven't even asked her what time she got home last night, but I think it was probably 2 or 3 a.m. No? Not telling. And I believe that time was spent here, not in a nightclub. So everyone's worked hard to put the evening together, including our staff. We've got some sensational staff. You have to kiss a few frogs to find a prince or a princess, but we're working with that process and we're trying to train them. And they've also worked long and hard into the dark, wet nights of this week, and I'm also very grateful that it's shining on us tonight. So that's about as controversial as I get in public. Any retailer who wants to know more about our business has only to ask me, Tom or Jack, or Lisa about giftware, because she's a world authority. And we'll try to help, but be warned, we will also ask in exchange for information from you that we would like to know. So in closing, I urge you to continue the camaraderie of the evening into a buoyant, successful and profitable spring ahead, and a strong future ahead for all of us. Welcome again. Thanks so much for attending and for your support, and enjoy the rest of the evening.